All right, good evening to you, and it's the 17th of March 2022. 17th of May 2022. You're welcome to News Night here on Metro TV. We're live from the Akiabuahima studio at North Ridge. We're coming to you with some updates of stories coming up. But follow us on social media platforms, Metro TV Ghana on Facebook, and Metro TV _G8 on Instagram and Twitter. We'll take a look at headlines of stories coming up. Extractive anti-corruption and good governance CEOs threaten to sue government over the new Ejapa deal. Fix the Country movement lead convener Oliver Bakar-Vomo were granted fighter-facing charges of careless and inconsiderate driving. Bulgaria regrets Seoul Enquiry reports demolition of embassy building has not been published. We'll give you details of what the ambassador also says. And also, Ghana Standards Authority to take steps to ensure that goods, especially from the agriculture sector, are properly tested through the National Quality Policy. All right, you're welcome back. Now let's deal with the first story concerning a controversy over the Achimota Forest. That's in sale of the Achimota Forest. And Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujid Napo, has asked the general public to ignore comments on the sale of Achimota Forest recent addressing to the media to clarify the matter. He noted that executive instrument that acquired the Achimota Forest Reserve remains not amended, but the part that is not used as a reserve is that which has been sold.
We have not amended EI to give away the Achimota Forest. We've amended EI to give away the portions of the land which was acquired in 1927, which is not being used for a forest reserve. And in actual fact, that act was done as far back as 2013. The general public is entreated to disregard these reports as they are false, baseless, and non-factual. Indeed, what the propagators of these messages have refused to add is that EI 144 was published together with the Forest Achimota Firewood Plantation Forest Reserve Amendment Instrument 2022, EI 154, which I'll be making available to you, members of the press. So, for the avoidance of doubt, President Akufo-Addo nor myself intend to sell or redevelop the Achimota Forest as currently constituted. On the contrary, we intend to enrich the Achimota Forest, revamp it, and hopefully transform it into the likes of Hyde Park of London and Central Park of New York, where Ghanaians can go and enjoy the beauty of nature and forest reserve as it happens in other parts of the world. With all the strength I can marshal at my disposal, the Achimota Forest Reserve remains intact. Whereas the President of the Republic is satisfied that the remaining portion of the land specified in the schedule should remain as a forest reserve, and whereas the President of the Republic is satisfied that the ecological integrity of the land specified in the schedule should be protected. In exercise of the power conferred on the President by Section 2 of the Forest Act 1927, Cap 157, this instrument is made this 21st day of April 2022. Title: Declaration of Land Remaining as Forest Reserve. Paragraph 1. The land specified in the schedule to this instrument is declared to remain as water forest. Protection of the ecological integrity of land remaining as forest reserve. 2. Paragraph 2. A person shall not carry out any physical development on any adjoining land that is likely to adversely affect the ecological integrity of the land specified in the schedule. Signed, Samuel Abdullahi Napo, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. For the avoidance of doubt, to reaffirm that the Achimota Forest remains a forest reserve.
Now, 3 people have allegedly been shot by the police during the protest by some youth of Nkranza over the alleged killing of a 28-year-old Albert Donko. He was said to have been picked up by the officers from his home by the police in an unregistered vehicle on suspicion of being an armed robber and shot on April 25, 2022. According to the police, the deceased was hit by a bullet by a supposed member of the armed robbery gang when the victim was leading them to other accomplices. All right, let's have a phone-in interview with our correspondent in the area. So security and okay, well, we give you that interview for now. Is our correspondent on? Hello, Abode. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Good evening to you. You're welcome to News Night. So what can you tell us about the gunshot that has affected some of the members who were on the demonstration today in Nkranza?
So, like I indicated earlier, the demonstration started around 1 this afternoon and it continued throughout. So around 4 getting to 5, we saw that the police officers came from the Techiman area. Then the demonstrators were actually at the police station, the Kranza police station. Though they have 2 police stations, but the demonstrators were at one side closer to the assembly. So when the police officers got in, they tried to disperse the demonstrators. It didn't work, and then gunshots started firing. The demonstrators did not give up. They continued pressing on, but they were pelting stones and then other items though. So there were fierce gunshots that continued for about 10 to 15 minutes. And we were following them keenly, but being careful because we didn't trust the process. So along the line, we realized that a young man was down, and he was among the frontliners of the demonstrators. And he was down completely. He couldn't shake himself. And it took some time for some of the demonstrators to be able to, get to where he was lying down. They picked him into a tricycle and they sent him to the hospital. So that did not end the whole thing. But that particular guy was shot in the head. So that did not end the whole thing. The demonstration continued, and another guy was shot on the leg again, and then he was taken to the hospital, and another person, the 3rd person, was shot. So the whole thing just went agog at Nkranza. Everyone started running for his or her life, and in a little later, another police station was attacked. So over here, they have 2 police stations, and almost all of them have been attacked this evening.
So how many people have been injured so far?
So 3 people have been touched. We went to the hospital. We've not been able to get to the medical team because they were so busy, but reports are that the 1st person that was shot has passed on, and he was shot in the head.
Are the people still on the street?
I hardly hear you. I'm
asking if the people are still on the street.
The people were still on the street, but as the night drew in, they really concentrated on the injured. So when you go to the hospital right now, so many people are there. Everyone wants to go and see the casualties or the people who have been touched by this particular incident. So it looks like the demonstration, is down a bit, but it has moved back into the township because the 1st police station is closer to the town, and then the 2nd one is a bit far. So they were at the 2nd one, and then when the gunshots came in, they moved back to the 1st police station, and then they tried to burn some items there that were parked in front of the police station. So that is actually what is happening or what happened.
Ibrahim, have you been able to, speak with the family of the first victim who died in the police custody? How about the one that has just died out of this, dispute with the police?
When we got here in the morning, there was a press conference by the traditional council, and we attended that press conference, and that was just to, urge the youth to be calm. And when we tried to speak to some of the family members, they said they are not going to rest until they get justice for Albert Donko. And the youth also, promised that they are not going to rest. Either they all die or they get justice for Albert Donko. So that is how it has been. The regional minister also came, and then he also spoke to the youth. He spoke to some opinion leaders equally, but it wasn't able to, slow down the fire in the hearts of many, and that led to this particular incident. So it's really tragic, and when you look at how it transpired and how it is going, it's really tragic over here.
Ibrahim, about the follow-up on this development and fill us in with all the necessary information you gather. Thank you for your time.
All right.
Ibrahim Abude giving us updates from the Nkranza areas. Now, let's turn our attention to some more police-related stories. And lead convener of the Fix the Country movement, Oliver Baka Vomowo, has been granted bail to the tune of 30,000 cedis with two sureties after he was arrested by the East Legon police on Tuesday, May 17, for careless and inconsiderate driving. A convener of the group, Benjamin Darkon, speaking to Metro News, says the arrest is a clear indication that it's, of a plot to frustrate persons believed to be critical of the government.
Baka Vomowo was arrested in the early hours of Tuesday, May 17, 2022, by officers of the Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service for careless and inconsiderate driving. This comes just few weeks after he was arrested for allegedly making comments on social media about plotting a coup, an incident that caused a stir on social media about the use of state officers to intimidate persons critical of government. Benjamin Darko, a convener of the Fix the Country movement, narrates Oliver's forceful arrest.
I was having a conversation with him, and then through the conversation I heard some sort of yelling in the background. And then I presumed that it was maybe a police officer then. He was shouting that, hey, stop the vehicle, and stop there. So Oliver was telling him that I didn't do anything, it wasn't me. And he was like, my friend, stop the vehicle. Then he said he's arrested him. The Oliver asked him, what is my charge? What are you arresting me for? He didn't say anything. He went ahead to ask him, what law have I broken? They didn't respond, they didn't do anything. And the one thing I heard was a police officer saying that, do you know that when you are arrested, your rights are curtailed?
After being arraigned before the Medina District Court and charged with counts, including failing to comply with road markings and causing danger to other road users, Oliver was granted bail to the tune of 30,000 cedis with two sureties. Benjamin Darko has since described the arrest as a plot to frustrate the lives of persons believed to be critical of the government.
In Ghana, so far as you have a dissenting voice, or you tend to challenge or you try to ask how democracy works, they see you to be an enemy of the state. And that is exactly what we are going through. It's not happening to just Oliver alone. I sat in TUC, and Kwesi Ofori came there to come and give an order that I should be harassed.
He said Ghana's democracy is under attack.
And it goes on to show that our democratic credibility or credence as a country is falling very, very low. It's very, very sad, and it's very, very bad. Whoever is orienting the police force needs to change it, because they don't behave as a service anymore. They behave as a force, where they go like, if I tell you something, you have no right to question me. You can't say anything. You just need to go mute, shut up, and then do what I say. That is the police service we are right now. So they are no longer a service because they are not serving us.
Now, Fix the Country convener Oliver Baka Vomowo, in an earlier interview with Bride and Amfo, called on the youth to demand more from the government, and he, together with other conveners of Fix the Country, will continue to fight for the cause.
that bring your faith into this thing, and this is what is going to lead us forward. And so what we are doing, and we have been accused of trying to provoke a coup d'etat, all kinds of things.
We'll talk about that.
One of the things we are doing is that we are trying to save our democracy. We are saying that if we don't do
for a change of a review of the constitution.
Yes, we're calling for democratic reforms within the constitutional framework. Because if you do not allow that process to happen, for people to renew their faith in this project, people are going to lose it.
If I were you, I mean, I am trying to help my state. You're talking about reviewing the constitution, and then because of that, you're coming up against the law. I would have withdrawn and settled. Why wouldn't you do that?
I have a strange feeling that those who do not wish well for this country would want that. And that's when I was in detention.
They want to see you withdraw.
Yes. When I was in detention, and I decided that I wasn't going to apply for bail, for instance, immediately, I was going to fight for those people who the police continually sent to wrong courts and which were choking our criminal justice system. And so I challenged that all the way to the highest court of the land. I was having police people come and say, why won't you just apply for bail and leave? And I said, no, the project is bigger than that. And I'm an activist. Whatever situation I find myself, I have to ask myself, how do I make my corner brighter? How do I make impact in a way that is felt by people? And that's the choices I'm making every day. So as I was in detention, I asked myself, what would these people want? They want me to shut up. They want us not to produce persons of courage, persons like myself, and they'll be winning, right? And so that mental hold over me, I kind of decided to lose it and do what I can do now in the hope that it provides an avenue and a path for improving our democracy. Because I don't want to be forced into exile. I don't think that our democracy will improve if people who want to, reform the status quo are made to flee from the country. So I wanted to go through the process, and hopefully that allows us to have a grounded conversations about what it would take. I knew that I would be exposed to the kind of things I was exposed to, including being tortured.
And yet you were...
And yes, I decided that, I just prayed over it. And one of the things I said is that I think that the biggest thing that can be taken away from me is perhaps my life. And so I had to accept that I've seen people who have died needless deaths in this country, whose lives amounted to nothing. And my only prayer was that if that was to happen to me, at least it provided opportunity for conversation and it sparked a real process towards democratic reforms. And so I prayed and then came. And said,
how were those days in the custody of the police service?
When I came in, the real thing happened when I was arrested at the airport, where I was beaten up, spat on, tortured, blindfolded, being taken out of the city.
The Attorney General said all this didn't happen in that day.
The Attorney General was called and talked about how I was tortured, and he said I was looking for an air condition in the prison cells. There was no investigations into any of the things I have talked about. There was no process to have a genuine attempt to review these facts. And then says it on radio, the Deputy Attorney General. I've decided not to engage because I'm actually going to sue. And then we see what happens. And I'm going to tell, and I'm in the process of telling that story because I want us to hold a mirror to the kind of institutions that claim to love this democracy.
Now, hundreds of unemployed graduates and diploma nurses who picketed for a second day at the Ministry of Health to demand their immediate employment have vowed to return to the ministry if they are not posted in a week's time as promised. Now, the group is made up of public trained nurses who graduated in 2019 and have been home since.
The group of graduate nurses and midwives, numbering about 100, came from all over the country to petition the Ministry of Health to attach some urgency to their placements. After their threats to picket at the Ministry of Health fell on deaf ears, they showed up at the premises, some of them nursing mothers carrying their babies on their backs to demand their postings. A leader of the group, Ebenezer Tenedu, spoke to Metro News on the issue.
Assurances has come over and over again, so there is no window period again. In quotes, there is no window period again. By Friday, if we do not have any positive feedback, Monday will even be far. It will amaze you that you will see us here either Saturday or Sunday. Yes. And I am assuring them that the population will be such that they cannot control.
Some agitated unemployed nurses who took part in Tuesday's picketing also shared their grievances alleging some of their colleagues have paid bribes to be posted. They say their next picketing point is the Ministry of Finance to demand clearance for postage.
Yes, so by Friday we are not taking it. They should, send the data so that we will get our posting by the end of this month. That Friday that they say they should stop.
For the refreshment, we are telling them that they should use that money for our clearance and our postings. That's it. We don't want what you have worked for. We want to work for our own and also gain. That is our main motive. So we beg them. They should do anything possible and post that, give us our clearance, and then everything will be fair.
It's not giving us clearance. So why is it that they say we should go that Friday, we should come? They are liars. The leaders are liars. Ghana leaders are liars. They are corrupt. We need our clearance now. We need our posting. We are not living here until we get our clearance and posting.
This is not the first time nursing students have picketed. In 2019, they sought clearance from the Ministry of Finance to be posted after they rewrote some deferred papers. They have since written those exams and even completed their national service.
You're watching News Night here on Metro TV. We will take a breather. We'll be back with some more stories. Here in the studio of Kiabuahima. Let's do some more stories. And ranking member on the Parliament Foreign Affairs Committee, Samuel Okudzeto Blakwa, says they will demand that the full report of the sole inquirer on the demolition of the Bulgarian embassy be made public. He accused the Land Ministry of shielding government officials involved in the illegal demolition as declared by the court.
We are nowhere near 2033. And it's a renewable lease, by the way. These people. So how is it that all of these people in the chain, those collaborators at the Lands Commission, Dr. Yawedu Ampoma, and also according to eyewitnesses who were there when the Bulgarian embassy was demolished, they say they saw national security operatives and police officers in touch. I have seen pictures, I've seen videos, which I'll share with you. And some of them came from the Cantonment police station. Why is it that all these people in the chain have not been listed, have not been named and shamed, and are not going to be sanctioned? And the impression is created that this is some lone wolf, one guy who was on a frolic of his own. I mean, this must be more than the Hollywood Superman who takes over Lands Commission, takes over national security, takes over the police command, and is falsifying documents, attaching wrong judgments, if you read the minister's statement, and only this man, Jojo Hagan. And even how to sanction Jojo Hagan. Look at, the joke. When you read the minister's statement, the minister says he has now written to the Attorney General to advise him as to how Jojo Hagan should be sanctioned. Do you think, Annie, if it was you who was going to violate the Vienna Convention, demolished an embassy, or it was me, I would not be arrested even before the minister's statement is put out,
right?
To at least assure the international community that they don't want me to run away or to get away, to ask questions. And we are going to use the parliamentary tools available to us to demand of ministers of state to be accountable to the people. We will demand the full report in Parliament, and we will demand that all those in the chain are sanctioned.
Now let's get details of the court's ruling on this sole inquirer investigation. So the sole inquirer who looked into the demolition of the structure at the Bulgarian embassy in Accra has recommended the sanctioning of the supposed private developer who caused the destruction of the embassy's building.
This year in March, the Bulgarian embassy was demolished by a private developer. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources commissioned the sole inquirer to look into the case, and the sole inquirer has brought his findings in a form of report. So right behind me is the building, and the recommendation reads, the ministry, after studying the 149-page report from the sole inquirer, has decided to take the following measures. The ministry accepts the findings and recommendations of the sole inquirer in full. The ministry has begun taking necessary steps to implement the recommendations of the sole inquirer. Since there are pending court cases, specifically suit numbers G1 1008/2021, PA 1335/2017, and GJ 5053/2022 in respect of the subject matter, the ministry has directed the Lands Commission to ensure there is no further development of the land pending outcome of the court cases. 2. Since there are impending court cases, for avoidance of doubt, no persons or entity is to carry out any development on the said land until conclusion of the said cases in court. 3. The sole inquirer established as a matter of fact that the cancellation of the Bulgarian embassy's interest did not follow due process. Since the registration of the assignments of Dr. Yao Edu Ampoma is found, as indicated in the sole inquirer's report, to have been improperly obtained, the ministry has further directed the Lands Commission to take the necessary steps to withdraw consent granted to the said assignment and registration of the interest of Dr. Yao Ampoma pending the outcome of the court cases. 4. The Lands Commission has directed not to recognize and or register any further transaction in respect of the subject of plots of land until final determination of impending cases before the courts or an amicable resolution of matters in dispute is reached. 5. The minister, that is Honorable Abu Jinapo, has also written to the Honorable Attorney General and the Minister of Justice to advise the ministry in respect of recommendation 1 of the sole inquirer, which states the following. Mr. Jojo Hagan, who is a private developer, should be sanctioned for not following due processes in the eviction of the alleged trespassers and the demolition of the building, and should be made to compensate the Bulgarian embassy. And in accordance with the recommendation of the sole inquirer, the minister wants to use his good office to attempt a mediation between the parties with hope of reaching an amicable settlement of matters in dispute. If no settlement is reached, the minister would await outcome of the court cases and abide by them. Eunice Osegudon, Metro News, Accra.
Now, when contacted by Metro News for a response, the Bulgarian ambassador to Ghana and Nigeria, Yanko Yordanov, actually said the following. And let's turn to the slides. And it says that at this stage, we're studying carefully the press release elements, and we will react soon. We regret so far the report itself has not been published in full. And this was the response we at Metro TV here received from Yordanov, the ambassador to Ghana and Nigeria. And he's saying that they are studying the elements of the press release by the ministry and will react. So we'll give you updates. We'll be following up with him and his embassy for more details. Now, President Akufo-Addo has described the late president of the UAE as the distinguished servant of the people and a friend of Ghana during the signing of the Book of Condolence at the UAE Embassy in Accra on Tuesday. President Akufo-Addo expressed condolences to the family of the deceased and prayed for comfort for grieving family. Now, the Sheikh Khalifa passed away on Friday, May 13, at the age of 73, and has been succeeded by his brother, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The UAE is currently observing a 40-day mourning period.
There to see him, he was kind enough to invite me, and we had a very good chat, and so I felt I should come and express my condolence and that of the people of Ghana. We want to have very good relations with your country, as you know, and develop better and better ties for the future. So you express my congratulations also to the successor, to the new mayor, and we agreed that he would come and visit me here in Ghana. So I'm looking forward to that.
To see you here, it's kind of you, and for your great and kind thoughts and prayer to UAE as the leaders and the people. And I promised my leaders that we're going to promote, we're going to make this relationship between Ghana and UAE better and better. So we'll do this, inshallah, this year.
Now let's begin some updates on Japa and an alliance of CEOs working on the extractive and corruption and good governance have threatened to sue government if the Japa deal recently introduced by the finance minister is passed with parliament's approval. So according to them, the deal is in its current form is senseless, not profitable, and inherently illegal.
In August 2020, when Parliament approved the Japa Minerals Royalties investment, some 22 civil society organizations called for the suspension of the deal, insisting it is not in the interest of Ghana. The recent advocate by the finance minister, therefore, to reintroduce the agreement in a revised format has sparked a whole new conversation about the benefits of the deal and the many irregularities it was cited with. The alliance of CSOs working on extractives, anti-corruption and good governance, 24 of them in all, have strongly declared their opposition to the deal. According to them, the deal has nothing good to offer Ghanaians.
We will be happy to go along with a Japa or any other plan, in simple terms, if it can show that instead of the average of 200 to 300 million that we make every year, this plan is going to make us more money. If a plan cannot make us more than 200 to 300 million every year, which we are guaranteed to get, where is the common sense in going through that? Which do not guarantee that you are going to make money. You are putting secured resources at risk in ways that you can't explain to your child.
They threaten to sue the government if the deal is passed without parliamentary approval, adding they will resort to other forms of protest if both Parliament and the courts fail to do due diligence on the deal.
Japa is incurably bad, whichever way we looked at it. Now, if they choose not to take it to Parliament, then we'll have to go through the courts. We are trusting of the courts. But even if the courts fail us, we have the streets.
Chief Executive Officer of African Energy Consortium Limited, Kwame Jantua, on his part called for broader stakeholder consultation on the deal before it is reintroduced.
And the President also made that promise when he decided to hold it back, that go out there, talk to stakeholders, and let's get a consensus on it. This new revision, they haven't spoken with stakeholders. I don't know, Kofi, have they spoken with you? Have they spoken with you? They haven't spoken with any stakeholders. And that shows that there are things perhaps they don't want us to know.
The group called on the government to avail itself for a thorough debate on the future of Ghana's mineral income.
Now, the 2020 flag bearer of the PNC, David Apasera, says he and other members reported to have been dismissed from the party remain opposed. Addressing a press conference in Accra, he described the caucus that dismissed them as unconstitutional and therefore the decision is unfounded.
The 2020 flag bearer of the People's National Convention, David Apasera, at a press conference, blamed the party's former leader, Dr. Edward Mahama, for the current turmoil within the party.
The regional chairman, who attended the so-called NEC meeting of the 12th May 2022, are Dr. Mahama's faction, and we will not be shy to say this. They are Dr. Mahama's faction that held sway the possibility of holding a proper NEC meeting and thereby leading to the holding of a National Delegates Congress on the 30th of September 2020, 2 months to the last general election.
He called on the public to disregard statements that he and the executives are no longer at post, saying these are diversionary tactics to create disunity in the party.
All their pronouncements and communique are all null and void, and only meant to confuse our supporters, sympathizers, and the Ghanaian people. We call on all and sundry to disregard all statements emanating from the so-called NEC meeting of 12 May 2022 with the contempt that they deserve. For the purposes of emphasis, Honorable David Apasera remains the leader of the party. We as leaders of the party will soon come out with the timelines regarding polling station, constituency, and regional elections to pave way for National Delegates Conference, hopefully early next year.
On the upcoming Congress, David Apasera said it is currently in court to restrain certain individuals from holding themselves as executives.
We are not going to allow things to continue like this. We are filing a writ to restrain them from holding themselves out as various officers of the party. And I am sure the court will surely take a decision on this, and that will restrain them. They want to say they have a faction, and their faction is also a credible faction. And it's unfortunate that the press, you should have done your own investigation to know who is really going by the Constitution.
Other party executives raised concerns about the developments in the party.
Which political party, serious political party, will say, we have one regional chairman who today is the leader of the party, and again, national chairman, and again, Greater Accra chairman. Where has it ever happened? Please.
Despite the disagreement, they say they remain united moving forward.
And you're still watching News Night here on Metro TV. We'll take another breather. We'll be back with more. Welcome back to News Night. It's time for us to go into the business world, and Ken is standing by to give us the details. Ken, you're welcome. Good evening to you.
Thank you very much, Annie. As she rightly said, business news is next. Hello again. The National Petroleum Authority has allayed fears of imminent shortage of fuel following a reported shortage of petrol and diesel at some filling stations.
The authority said, though some oil marketing companies recorded shortages at some of their outfits, there was no shortage of petroleum products in the country, as speculated. It said as of Monday, May 16, 2022, the quantity of diesel available could feed the country for up to 4 weeks, while the quantity of petrol in the country's reserve could last for about 6 weeks. Motorists last week expressed fear that the country had been hit by fuel shortages following reports that some filling stations had run out of the commodity. Analysts have warned that the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war could lead to scarcity in petroleum products as more countries applied economic sanctions against Russia, the third largest oil producer, accounting for about 11% of the world's crude oil supplies.
The CEO of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, says the GSA is taking steps to ensure that goods, especially from the agriculture sector, are properly tested through the National Quality Policy.
The National Quality Policy is a system that spells out how goods and services must be produced to the acceptable standards by all sectors of the economy, whether private or public, but most importantly, ensure that the production and provision of goods and services meet international acceptable quality standards. Speaking on Metro TV's The Bottom Line, CEO of Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, outlined some plans executed by his outfit to ensure that the National Quality Policy is implemented successfully.
We've done. Now we have the Ghana National Quality Policy. That means that PPRSD, Food and Drugs Authority, Ministry of Agri, Plant Protection, Veterinary Service, we are all coordinating to support exports. But through the Ghana Economic Transformation Project, the World Bank Group has provided money, and I'm not talking about to be done, it's being done, for the Standards Authority to have another laboratory in Kumasi.
Okay.
We are establishing regional labs so that we are closer to the testing needs areas in the farms and other areas. Through this same project, we have bought equipment, but with probably currently about 7 million cities already installed and testing specifically for this sector.
He appealed to the private sector to come on board and assured them that the Ghana Standard Authority is up to the task.
Over the years, the private sector's trust in business, in government, or usage of government has been, would they not?
Yes.
But now, I can assure the private sector, and I'm also a private sector person, that we mean business. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, now in all their economic trade and investment bureaus, they do call us that what are you doing to help these companies to move business forward? So the outlook is business. And I keep saying that till Ghanaian companies make a lot of money, our job is not done. When they make the money, nobody needs to ask me what they will do with it. They would employ Ghanaians. They will pay taxes.
The National Quality Policy was approved by Cabinet on the 28th April 2022.
And that's it for business. My name is Kenneth. Jesse, back to Annie for the rest of the bulletin.
Thank you so much for the updates in the business news. Let's take a break. We'll be back. And it's time for sports. Phil John Korte Barnabas is here with me. You're welcome. Good evening to you. All right, give us a sports.
Up next, we're bringing you sports. I'm Theo John Korte, former Chief Executive Officer of Asante Kotoko Bemensa, has welcomed the GFA Disciplinary Committee to demote Ash Gold and Inter Allies for Division 2, following their involvement in a match-fixing syndicate.
Look, simply put, what is right, what is wrong. Betting, match fixing, match manipulation is wrong. And I think if you're found guilty, there has to be a process that is quick, is decisive, is effective, and is strong. The fact that FIFA have been copied, the fact that the judgment has been transparent and is so clear, sends out a message. Maybe, and I would hope, I don't know, that the administrators of the game and the powers that be recognize that football is big business, and big business will not follow anything that taints its image, and betting and gambling certainly does. I feel sorry in many ways for those who may have been dragged in unwittingly, but for those who did not even want to pitch up when they were called by the disciplinary committee, they were lucky to get off for 24 months. I think at the top end, there are huge fines and bans. I'm not going to dispute those. That's not my job. That's the disciplinary committees. But the fact that it has come out today is a positive. There are many things wrong with our game. But today we need to take our hats off and say well done to the disciplinary committee, to the FA, to Kurt and his boys, and hope that the other cases that are outstanding will be seen through a lot quicker than this one has taken. And we'll continue with that transparency. There must be a deterrent. It's no good we on the outside hearing that, oh, club owners are involved, or FA members are involved, or even politicians are involved. It does not help, because the same thing we hear, money hears, big business hears, companies hear at the same time. And we need to find a way to expunge this completely from our game.
A veteran football coach and a former Ghana Premier League trainer, J.E. Sapon, has indicated the Black Stars' failure in the ongoing WAFO Zone B tournament cannot be attributed to only the justice to the game, and that other factors would have contributed.
It's a failure. If a coach, moves a team to go and play, and then they have a bad day, it doesn't necessarily mean the coach is bad. Something might have gone wrong somewhere. Sometimes you see on the pitch what the boys, showcase, but back door, you don't know what happens. You know, some things happen behind the scenes before matches are played. You don't have to dismantle them, have to bring them together. And then don't forget that some of them are playing this competition for the first time. And then if you try to dismantle the team, you have demoralized them. You know, they cannot find their feet anywhere again. So it's better to keep them together. And then where the mistakes fell, you come and correct the mistakes and let them move ahead.
Veteran football coach J. Sapon speaking on the failure of the Black Stars in the ongoing West African Football Championship in Niger. Over there, Ghana is out and the team is already in town following their elimination from the tournament. My name is Feo John Korte. Is your advice ready for entertainment?
Thank you, Phil, for the updates in sports. It's time for entertainment news. My name is Asiodua Akumia. Now, urban gospel musician John Wenner has revealed the difficulty he and other colleagues faced when they began making urban gospel music some years back. But speaking on Entertainment's review, the musician cum preacher believes Ghanaians have now come to accept this style of music.
You know, Ghana was not accepting
urban,
the urban contemporary thing.
When you started, how was it?
We took on the bullets, you know, bro. We had to break the grounds, like piloting, more of a piloting kind of thing, because this is well recognized in South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, UK. So Ghanaians were, you know, music is migrating, and the process of transition, people are not really buying into the vibe that what are the predecessors going to do? Like, hey, what are you guys bringing on board? Because our eyes has a strong youthful appeal. So immediately we come fully in the swing. It's like everybody's like, hey, these guys are bringing something new. So there were a few battles here and there we fought. What we're doing basically is on riding on tempos with the same message. You understand? We need to catch up with the time. We need to catch up with systems. Do you get what I'm saying? If we want to stay back where we were, the youth is moving. The world is moving we're moving on a very high pace. And so we get to believe and know that, listen, hey, let's stand up. Not to go the wrong way, still keep doctrines, everything in check, but now move it in a different dimension that will get the youth involved.
Now, he also expresses disappointment in churches for not helping talents. He therefore called for talents within the churches to be nurtured and helped to succeed in their various careers.
And that is where I have issues with, we have issues with the church, because if there could be equal reason to sponsor people for education, there should be equal reason to sponsor people for talents. The church should pick talents in the church and nurture them. You know, if there is a fund for artistry, musicmanship, talent, let's say choreography, dance and painting, the church should turn, because the church is losing her heroes and her heroines to the world, quote and unquote. If you do a cross-check, you know that all the big acts from America to wherever, from the Jay-Z, the Sean Carters to the PDDs to mention that they were from the church. What happened?
For our next story, the Best Rap Performance winner at the recently held VGMA, Lyrical Joe, has stated that he does not feel pressured after winning the award, but rather he would put in more work to keep winning the award year on year. The 5th August rapper also says he is working on pushing his music onto the global markets.
Yeah, now that I'm the best rapper, I'm just going to continue to be the best rapper, actually. That's what's next for me. I'm going to drop bangers, and I'm still going to drop best rap songs to take that category over and over again. I don't feel pressured, actually, because this thing is like talk and practice for me. It's what I do. I would only be pressured if, you know, I didn't work for it, and now there's a big mountain I need to work with. It's what I do, so I don't feel pressured. I would do this with ease. Yeah, it's definitely, you know, we can't just plan to be home. We spread the wings and go far. Since my market type is already out there, and people already love the craft from out there, it's only right that we will take it globally. Yeah.
Award schemes can play funny, but as long as rap goes in this country, I'm Jay-Z and Nas if you angry.
Well, that's it for entertainment news. My name is Asiodua Akumia. Annie?
The updates. Now let's do some international stories. Kiev's lead negotiator in talks with the Russian delegation today said Russia did not appear to understand the war is no longer taking place according to its routes, its timetable, or its plans. Moscow's Deputy Foreign Minister Andrei Rokendo said the Ukraine had practically withdrawn from the negotiating process, and Interfax news agency said discussions between Russia and Ukraine have been held regularly, both in person and via video call since the war began, but have so far failed to yield any breakthrough. Both sides have previously insisted they are still open to negotiated and to the fighting. And that's what we have for you this evening. Newsnight came to you live from the Ikea studio at North Ridge. Follow Metro TV for more news updates. Thanks for watching. I am Annie from Performance.